Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. I have an album called Hypothetical. On each episode, you will hear me break down every element in the next track on the album until I've run out of tracks. Replacement is the 7th track on Hypothetical. The more I do these, the more I realize that I should say more in these opening credits. It was written and performed by me. I'll mention other performers as they come up. It was produced by me and co-produced by Mac Siegel. It was also mixed by Mac Siegel and mastered by Kevin Lively. Replacement marks the halfway point of the album. The songs on the album so far have been relatively surface-level, emotional explorations. Star Destroyer lives in teenage angst, but the fictional nature and the anime influence allows you to keep it at an emotional distance. Koi is about being a fish, so you don't have to internalize the emotions very deeply. Too Cold is about longing, but it's a pleasant longing that makes you feel warmth. Ghost can be spooky, but similar to Star Destroyer, the fiction allows you to keep it at a distance. Space Heat is lyrically dense and isn't really an emotional exploration at all. Replacement is a challenge to you, listener, to start opening yourself up emotionally. This song has very few lyrics. Colder, 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 warm. Colder, 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 noise. You're past your prime. You're out of time now. Sometime around 2010, I think, when I was like 14 or 15 years old, I decided for myself that I was a poet and therefore decided to keep a little notebook in my back pocket at all times in order to write any poetry down immediately when the inspiration struck. I have no idea what happened to this little notebook, but I do remember writing in it rather infrequently. One evening, I was on the roof of Lee's Sandwiches with my dad, working on the air conditioning. He had gone downstairs to grab some tools, and I was up there alone, watching the sunset and listening to the consistent grumbling hum of the old AC unit. My dad had been called to do service on the air conditioner by the owner of Lee's Sandwiches, saying it was getting too hot inside. If my memory serves me correctly, we discovered that the thermostat was behind a freezer, meaning that the AC was running constantly, never detecting a change in temperature. In a manner of speaking, the unit had tired itself out from never having been turned off and was no longer able to cool the air. And so, in a manner that a musical biopic would depict inspiration in an overly dramatic and simplistic way, I'm sitting alone on the roof at sunset, and I start humming the note that the air conditioner is singing. And then I start singing to myself. Colder, 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 warm. Colder, 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 noise. I don't know how much longer it took for me to get the last 2 lines, but I'm pretty sure I did still have them while on the roof. You're past your prime, you're out of time now. I don't know if I had the melody by that point. In my little notebook, I wrote down the idea and kept singing the melody to myself. I eventually wrote chords for it, and as far as I remember, this is the first time that I've combined lyrics with singing and been able to call it a song. There was just one problem, though. This is all it was. No verses, no bridge, no chorus. Just this, over and over again. This little ditty lived in my head for years. I tried adding more chords or more lyrics, but then I deleted them in frustration. I don't remember what those lost lyrics and chords were. I can't find them in any of my files. Probably buried in some old phone or computer. It doesn't really matter. I was able to add a rhythm in my head that stuck with me for a long time. It's present on the final version with this drum machine. It does the Motown downbeat snare thing, but the kicks follow the vocal melody and chord changes. But even with this rhythm, I didn't feel like I could make a complete enough track to justify it being considered a song. These are the limitations that I put upon myself when I didn't know what it meant to write a song. In 2015, now as a music production major, I took an ACM at UCO class taught by Sephra. I think it was in the first class that she asked what we were listening to, and she told us what she was listening to. She mentioned Sonlux, Sonlux, because of the way that I ingest new artists. I always start at the beginning of their discography, so I listened to their first album, At War with Walls and Mazes, which was really inspirational to me at the time. Sonlux is still one of my favorite bands, and they've shaped me as a producer and composer quite a bit. This first album was a revelation to me, specifically because of Ryan Lott's use of mantra. The way that he was able to make entire sonic explorations on top of and surrounding repetitive lyrical phrases. A majority of the album is songs made up of only one or two stanzas of poetry. Such as, quote, "Put down all your weapons, let me in through your open wounds." Or, "You stand between me and all my enemies." It's something that I should have consciously known already, but to hear it done so effectively was really inspiring. I'd already been expanding songs vertically. For example, listen to my ambient album, Bloom. By 2015, the album was actually pretty much already done. So I knew that I could do that with compositions, but I hadn't had the confidence to do it with songs until being inspired by Sonlux. Fast forward to me in my master's program as a composer from 2017 to 2019. I'm having to write ideas and expand on them and explore the vastness of what I can do with a surprising amount of limitations. I'm shown the way other composers can take a fragment and make universes with them. This song is a bright example of the merging of all my musical disciplines: songwriting, production, composition, and performance. The entire song builds vertically, which means that it adds musical layers rather than new musical ideas. Along with the drum machine, the piano is the omnipresent force in the song. It follows the vocal melody and remains spacious the entire time. These tape strings add a sense of nostalgia to the song. The sound is from a plugin called Tapeworm by the developer Tweakbench, which also made Monomate. I love pads. Maybe I use them too much, but I think it's nice to have a soft blanket around at all times. Because I was in composer brain for this production, I used a lot of orchestral instruments. This glockenspiel enhances the vocal melody with its brightness, while the strings work with the pad to bring the gentleness, drama, and sadness. The organ does the same emotional thing as the strings, but with a flavor of Catholicism. The brass enhances the gravity of the emotions as well. This little guy is also a monomate. I wanted something that would arpeggiate the chords, but rather than simply arpeggiate on a chord, I decided to manually program the notes to emphasize the melodic motif that leans on the major seventh. That little motif remains throughout the chord progression and makes the sound of the synth really unique to the song. This song has two basses, one that's chill and holds the foundation, and the other that's all fuzzed out and growls in your face. The primary drums were performed by Keegan Darrow. He had a hell of a time working with the weird syncopation, exhausting drum break, and the bombastic ending. He did such a great job. The drum break, which Mac started referring to as the drum choir, was an idea that started as I was realizing that I could make this into a full track, with the middle break being an emotional explosion. The drum choir includes 5 sets of drums, 2 different takes of Keegan doing whatever nonsense, Keegan's ending drums played double time, me playing nonsense before I knew how to play drums, and Don Data from Lust Online, also doing whatever nonsense. Here's Keegan's main one. The secondary Keegan take. Keegan's ending drums, double time. My stupid drum take. And Don Data's drum take. Mac wrangled these takes into something coherent somehow, which is why he's co-producer on this one. I didn't have a coherent idea of what it was gonna be, just that it would be chaos on drums. He really took it and made something interesting with it, which is impressive because every single one of these has 13 inputs. That's 65 individual tracks just for drums. And the synth bass is doing a big growly thing during the drum break. And the arpeggiated synth is also taking charge in the drum break. Big, bright, and echoey, and also an upper octave. There are a lot of subconscious things that you can do to enhance transitions. Sub-bass or higher frequency information can be used to affect transitions. And so we have these big booms and reversed crashes. I can't afford a full orchestra, so I had to make do with a fake one. I arranged moving parts for strings, woodwinds, brass, and mallets. Meanwhile, we also have a separate orchestra part doing pads on the chords, which are sidechained to the kick drum. That means that whenever the kick drum is played, the volume of these pads goes down. The vocal part remains the same throughout, with a couple of exceptions. At the beginning, the melody is by itself, and when I say noise, there's a little noise effect that Mac added. The harmony joins in quietly on the ascending line, and then the vocals are literally copied and pasted throughout. It's actually all instrumentation that's changing around the vocal that makes it feel much more important.
Colder, colder, colder noise. You're past your prime. You're out of time now.
I'm really proud of how I was able to make something big and powerful with a small set of lines that are repeating. Oh, I almost forgot. Here's the password, monomate. I don't know what it said of me as a teenager that this was the first feeling that I was able to capture into music and lyrics. That feeling of no longer being useful or needed is a universal pain that, if you haven't felt it yet, you will if you get to a certain age. To lose the ability to fulfill one's purpose is one of the most heartbreaking, yet inevitable experiences of humanity. Here's Replacement in its entirety.
Your
Thank you for listening to Bit Depth. You can listen to Hypothetical wherever you stream music, or preferably, you can buy Hypothetical on Bandcamp. I also have merch on my website, which I will continue to update, so keep an eye out for new and cool things happening there. Direct financial support will always be more than what streaming can provide. You can also use your voice to tell others that you like what I'm doing. That is free. My website is the place where you can go to find all things Bit Depth and all things Hypothetical. So please go to santiagoramones.com to get the full experience. Love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong.